Hello there and welcome to the Mindful Zone. Today we embark on a journey together, a journey toward peace, clarity and calm. You've just clicked on something very special, a 2-hour exploration of how Buddhism, meditation and mindfulness can help you eliminate anxiety from your life and create more space for joy, presence and well-being. Take a moment to settle in. Whether you're sitting comfortably at home, lying down or even listening while commuting, let this be a time just for you. No distractions, just you and this shared experience. If it feels right, take a deep breath in, hold it gently at the top, and now release it slowly. Feel yourself beginning to relax. Anxiety is something many of us carry silently. It might show up as racing thoughts, tightness in the chest, or an overwhelming sense of unease about the future. But here's the truth. Anxiety doesn't define you. It's not who you are. It's simply a pattern of thinking and feeling that arises when your mind tries to protect you. And while its intentions may seem noble, anxiety often ends up doing more harm than good. It keeps us stuck in cycles of worry, fear, and stress, making it hard to live fully in the present moment. But what if I told you there's another way? What if I told you that centuries-old wisdom rooted in Buddhism, combined with modern practices like meditation and mindfulness, could offer a path out of this cycle? These tools aren't magic fixes, they're practical, accessible ways to retrain your mind and reconnect with yourself. They don't require any special equipment, expensive memberships, or drastic lifestyle changes. All they ask is your willingness to try to show up for yourself, even if only for a few minutes each day. This video is designed to guide you through that process. Over the next 2 hours, we'll explore 10 chapters that build on one another, creating a roadmap for reducing anxiety and cultivating inner peace. We'll start by understanding what anxiety really is and why it happens. Then we'll dive into the teachings of Buddhism, which provide profound insights into the nature of suffering and how to overcome it. From there, we'll move into practical tools like meditation and mindfulness, showing you step by step how to incorporate them into your daily life. Whether you're completely new to these concepts or already familiar with them, this journey has something for everyone. For beginners, think of this as a gentle introduction, a safe space to dip your toes into mindfulness without feeling overwhelmed. And for those who've been practicing for a while, consider this an opportunity to deepen your understanding and refine your approach. Throughout this video, you'll notice moments of silence, pauses where you can reflect, breathe, or simply absorb what's being shared. These pauses are intentional. They're reminders that growth isn't always about doing more. Sometimes it's about allowing yourself to be. So don't rush. Let everything unfold naturally. Before we dive into the first chapter, I want to remind you that this is your time. There's no pressure to get it right or achieve anything specific. Simply being here, open to learning and exploring, is enough. Anxiety thrives on perfectionism and self-criticism, but today we're leaving all of that behind. Instead, we're embracing compassion for ourselves and for others. So once again, thank you for joining me here in the Mindful Zone. This is your sanctuary, a place where you can pause, breathe, and rediscover the calm within. Are you ready? Take another deep breath, and let's begin. Chapter 1. Understanding Anxiety. Anxiety is one of the most pervasive emotional experiences in our modern world. It affects millions of people across all walks of life, regardless of age, gender, or background. While anxiety can feel deeply personal and unique to each individual, it also has universal characteristics that connect us all. To truly understand anxiety and ultimately work toward eliminating it from our lives, we must first examine its roots, its impact on both the mind and body, and how ancient wisdom like Buddhism helps us reframe this often overwhelming experience. At its core, anxiety is the mind's attempt to protect us from perceived threats. Our brains evolved over millennia to prioritize survival, constantly scanning the environment for danger. In prehistoric times, this vigilance was crucial. It helped our ancestors avoid predators, find food, and stay safe. But today, in a world where physical threats are far less common, this same protective mechanism can become maladaptive. The brain doesn't distinguish between real dangers like a lion chasing you and imagined ones, such as worrying about an upcoming presentation or replaying a past mistake over and over again. As a result, we end up feeling anxious even when there's no immediate threat present. This phenomenon is what makes anxiety so tricky to manage. On the surface, it might seem irrational. Why am I so worked up about something that hasn't even happened yet? Why does my heart race when I think about tomorrow's meeting? But beneath the surface, anxiety serves a purpose. It's trying to prepare us for potential challenges. The problem arises when this preparation becomes excessive, intrusive, and disproportionate to the actual situation at hand. To better grasp how anxiety operates, let's break it down into its components. First, there's the cognitive aspect, the thoughts that fuel anxiety. These thoughts often revolve around uncertainty, fear of failure, or dread of the unknown. For example, someone with social anxiety might worry incessantly about being judged or embarrassed in front of others. Someone with generalized anxiety might ruminate on worst-case scenarios, imagining everything that could go wrong in their lives. These thought patterns create a feedback loop. The more we dwell on negative possibilities, the more anxious we feel, which then leads to more negative thinking. Second, there's the physiological response. When anxiety takes hold, the body reacts as though it's under attack. The fight or flight system kicks into gear, flooding the bloodstream with adrenaline and cortisol. Your heart beats faster, your muscles tense up, your breathing quickens, all designed to help you either confront the danger or escape it. But because the danger in modern anxiety is usually psychological rather than physical, this heightened state of arousal has nowhere to go. Instead of dissipating after the threat passes, the tension lingers, leaving you feeling restless, irritable, and exhausted. Finally, there's the emotional component. Anxiety isn't just about thoughts and physical sensations, it's also about how those elements make you feel. Fear, unease, dread, frustration, sadness. All of these emotions can arise alongside anxiety, compounding its effects. Over time, chronic anxiety can erode self-confidence, strain relationships, and diminish overall quality of life. It's not uncommon for people struggling with anxiety to describe feeling trapped, overwhelmed, or disconnected from themselves and the world around them. Now, let's shift gears slightly and explore how Buddhism views anxiety. One of the central teachings of Buddhism is that much of human suffering stems from misunderstanding reality. This teaching is encapsulated in the concept of dukkha, often translated as suffering or unsatisfactoriness. Dukkha encompasses not only overt pain and distress, but also subtler forms of dissatisfaction, the sense that things aren't quite right, even when they appear to be going well on the surface. In the context of anxiety, dukkha arises from clinging to control and resisting impermanence. Think about it. Anxiety thrives on attachment to outcomes, identities, expectations. We cling to the idea that we can predict and manage every aspect of our lives. And when reality inevitably deviates from our plans, we suffer. This resistance to change creates a fundamental disconnect between how we wish things were and how they actually are. Buddhism teaches that acceptance, not resignation, but genuine acceptance, is key to overcoming this disconnect. Acceptance means acknowledging that life is inherently uncertain, imperfect, and ever-changing. It means letting go of the need to micromanage every detail and trusting that you have the resilience to handle whatever comes your way. This shift in perspective doesn't eliminate external stressors, but it transforms how you relate to them. Instead of seeing challenges as insurmountable obstacles, you begin to view them as opportunities for growth and learning. Another important Buddhist principle related to anxiety is the concept of mindfulness. Mindfulness involves cultivating awareness of the present moment without judgment. When applied to anxiety, mindfulness allows you to observe your thoughts and feelings objectively, recognizing them as transient phenomena rather than immutable truths. For instance, instead of identifying with the thought, "I'm going to fail," you might notice, here's a thought about failing. This subtle distinction creates distance between you and your anxiety, giving you space to respond skillfully rather than react impulsively. Mindfulness also helps you tune into your body's signals. Often anxiety manifests physically before we're consciously aware of it. A tightness in the chest, shallow breathing, a knot in the stomach. By paying attention to these cues, you can intervene early using techniques like deep breathing or grounding exercises to calm your nervous system. Over time, this practice strengthens your ability to regulate your emotions and reduces the frequency and intensity of anxious episodes. It's worth noting that Buddhism doesn't frame anxiety as something to be eradicated entirely. After all, some degree of discomfort is inevitable in life. What matters is how we relate to that discomfort. Do we resist it, amplifying our suffering? Or do we meet it with curiosity and compassion, transforming it into a source of insight and healing? To illustrate this point, consider the story of the two arrows, a parable found in Buddhist texts. Imagine being struck by an arrow. The initial pain represents unavoidable suffering, such as illness, loss, or disappointment. However, if you react to that pain with anger, denial, or despair, it's like being hit by a second arrow. The first arrow is beyond your control, but the second one, the additional suffering caused by your reaction, is entirely within your power to mitigate. Through mindfulness and wise reflection, you can minimize the impact of the second arrow, sparing yourself unnecessary anguish. In addition to mindfulness, Buddhism emphasizes ethical conduct and mental discipline as pathways to reduce anxiety. Ethical living fosters harmony within ourselves and with others, creating a foundation of trust and stability. When we act with integrity, speaking kindly, acting honestly, and treating others with respect, we reduce sources of inner conflict and guilt, which often contribute to anxiety. Similarly, mental discipline trains the mind to focus and remain steady, preventing it from spiraling into unhelpful thought patterns. One practical tool rooted in Buddhist practice is meditation. Meditation provides a structured way to develop mindfulness, concentration, and insight. There are many forms of meditation, but most share a common goal, helping you cultivate a clear, calm, and compassionate relationship with your mind. For example, breath-focused meditation encourages you to anchor your attention on the sensation of breathing, gently returning your focus whenever your mind wanders. Loving-kindness meditation invites you to generate feelings of goodwill toward yourself and others, counteracting the isolation and negativity that often accompany anxiety. Of course, meditation isn't a quick fix like any skill. It requires patience and consistency. At first, sitting quietly with your thoughts may feel uncomfortable, even frustrating. You might encounter resistance, boredom, or doubt. But with regular practice, you'll start to notice shifts. Moments of clarity, peace, and connection that weren't accessible before. These small victories accumulate over time, gradually reshaping your relationship with anxiety. Ultimately, understanding anxiety through the lens of Buddhism offers a holistic framework for addressing it. Rather than viewing anxiety as a flaw or defect, we see it as a natural part of the human condition, one that can be transformed through awareness, acceptance, and intentional action. By embracing these principles, we empower ourselves to navigate life's uncertainties with grace and resilience. In the chapters ahead, we'll delve deeper into specific practices and strategies inspired by Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness. Together, we'll explore how these tools can be integrated into your daily routine, creating lasting change and fostering a greater sense of well-being. But for now, take a moment to reflect on what we've covered so far. How does this perspective resonate with your own experience of anxiety? Are there areas where you feel ready to experiment with new approaches? Remember, the journey toward freedom from anxiety begins with understanding, and understanding starts with openness. Chapter 2: The Wisdom of Buddhism. Buddhism is often described as both a philosophy and a spiritual tradition, offering profound insights into the nature of human existence and suffering. At its heart lies a simple yet transformative idea. Much of our suffering arises from misunderstanding reality. By cultivating awareness, compassion, and wisdom, we can transcend this suffering and live with greater peace and clarity. These teachings are not just abstract concepts, they are practical tools that can help us navigate the complexities of modern life, including the pervasive challenge of anxiety. To truly appreciate how Buddhism addresses anxiety, we must first delve into its foundational principles. Central to Buddhist thought are the Four Noble Truths, which provide a framework for understanding suffering and its resolution. These truths are not dogmatic doctrines, but rather observations about the human condition, universal truths that anyone can verify through personal experience. The first noble truth states that life involves suffering, or dukkha. Dukkha encompasses a wide range of experiences from overt pain and distress to subtler forms of dissatisfaction and unease. It's important to note that dukkha isn't inherently negative. It's simply an acknowledgement that life is imperfect and unpredictable. Think about moments when you felt restless, unfulfilled, or disconnected, even during seemingly positive circumstances. That sense of something missing is dukkha. Anxiety too falls under this umbrella, manifesting as a form of mental and emotional discomfort, rooted in uncertainty and resistance to change. The second noble truth identifies the cause of suffering. Craving, or tanha craving, takes many forms. It could be attachment to pleasure, aversion to pain, or clinging to fixed ideas about who we are and how life should unfold. In the context of anxiety, craving often shows up as an obsessive need for control. We crave certainty, security, and validation, believing that achieving these things will bring lasting happiness. But because life is inherently impermanent, clinging to such desires only perpetuates dissatisfaction. For example, someone experiencing social anxiety might crave approval from others, fearing rejection or judgment. This craving creates a cycle of tension and self-doubt, reinforcing the very anxiety they seek to escape. The third noble truth offers hope. Suffering can end. This cessation of suffering is called nirodha, or liberation. Liberation doesn't mean eliminating all challenges or hardships from life. It means freeing ourselves from the additional layers of suffering we create through resistance and attachment. Imagine being stuck in traffic. The situation itself is frustrating, but the real anguish comes from resisting it, thinking, this shouldn't be happening. When we let go of resistance and accept the moment as it is, we reduce unnecessary suffering. Similarly, by releasing our grip on anxious thoughts and embracing impermanence, we begin to loosen anxiety's hold on us. The fourth noble truth outlines the path to ending suffering, the Eightfold Path. This path consists of 8 interconnected practices that guide individuals toward awakening and freedom. While the entire path deserves careful study, several aspects are particularly relevant to managing anxiety. Right understanding and right intention encourage us to examine our beliefs and motivations, fostering insight into the causes of our suffering. Right speech, right action, and right livelihood promote ethical conduct, creating harmony within ourselves and with others. Finally, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration focus on mental training, helping us develop clarity, presence, and resilience. One of the most powerful elements of the Eightfold Path is mindfulness, or sati. Mindfulness involves paying attention to the present moment with openness, curiosity, and non-judgment. It's a way of stepping out of autopilot mode and reconnecting with your direct experience. When applied to anxiety, mindfulness allows you to observe your thoughts and feelings without becoming entangled in them. Instead of identifying with anxious thoughts like, "I'm going to fail," you notice, here's a thought about failing. This subtle shift creates distance between you and your anxiety, giving you space to respond skillfully rather than react impulsively. Mindfulness also helps you tune into your body's signals. Often anxiety manifests physically before we're consciously aware of it. A tightness in the chest, shallow breathing, or a knot in the stomach. By paying attention to these cues, you can intervene early, using techniques like deep breathing or grounding exercises to calm your nervous system. Over time, this practice strengthens your ability to regulate your emotions and reduces the frequency and intensity of anxious episodes. Another key aspect of Buddhist wisdom is the concept of impermanence, or anicca. Everything in life is constantly changing: our thoughts, emotions, relationships, even our physical bodies. Yet despite this obvious truth, we tend to resist change, clinging to what feels comfortable or familiar. This resistance creates friction and fuels anxiety. For instance, someone worried about aging might fixate on preserving their youth, ignoring the natural flow of life. By embracing impermanence, we learn to let go of attachment and trust in the unfolding process. This doesn't mean passively accepting every situation. Rather, it means approaching life with flexibility and adaptability, knowing that nothing stays the same forever. Impermanence is closely linked to another core teaching, non-self, or anatta. According to Buddhism, there is no fixed, independent self at the center of our experience. What we call me, or mine, is actually a collection of ever-changing physical and mental phenomena. This realization can be profoundly liberating, especially for those struggling with anxiety. Much of anxiety stems from identification with certain roles, achievements, or expectations. When we see through the illusion of a fixed self, we stop taking our thoughts and emotions so personally. We recognize that anxiety is not who we are. It's simply a passing cloud in the sky of awareness. Compassion, or karuna, is another cornerstone of Buddhist wisdom. Compassion begins with self-compassion, the ability to treat ourselves with kindness, especially during difficult times. Anxiety often triggers harsh self-criticism, fueling a vicious cycle of negativity. Practicing self-compassion interrupts this pattern, reminding us that we're worthy of care and understanding regardless of our struggles. From there, compassion extends outward, fostering empathy and connection with others. When we approach life with an open heart, we soften the barriers that separate us from the world, reducing feelings of isolation and alienation. Meditation plays a vital role in embodying these teachings. Through meditation, we cultivate the qualities of mindfulness, concentration, and insight necessary for transformation. There are countless forms of meditation, each suited to different needs and preferences. Breath-focused meditation encourages you to anchor your attention on the sensation of breathing, gently returning your focus whenever your mind wanders. Loving-kindness meditation invites you to generate feelings of goodwill toward yourself and others, counteracting the isolation and negativity that often accompany anxiety. Body scan meditation guides you through systematically observing sensations in your body, promoting relaxation and embodiment. One of the most striking aspects of meditation is its impact on the brain. Modern neuroscience has confirmed what Buddhists have known for centuries. Regular meditation rewires the brain in beneficial ways. Studies show that meditation increases activity in the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making, self-awareness, and emotional regulation. Simultaneously, it decreases activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center, reducing reactivity and enhancing calm. These changes don't happen overnight, but with consistent practice, they accumulate over time, leading to measurable improvements in mental health and well-being. It's worth noting that meditation isn't limited to formal sitting practice. Informal mindfulness, bringing awareness to everyday activities like eating, walking, or washing dishes, is equally valuable. These moments offer opportunities to ground yourself in the present, breaking free from the autopilot mode that often exacerbates anxiety. For example, next time you eat a meal, try savoring each bite. Notice the textures, flavors, and aromas. Pay attention to the movement of your hands, the sensation of chewing, the act of swallowing. By fully engaging with the experience, you create a sense of presence and fulfillment that transcends mere consumption. In addition to mindfulness and meditation, Buddhism emphasizes ethical living as a foundation for reducing anxiety. Ethical conduct fosters harmony within ourselves and with others, creating a stable base from which to navigate life's challenges. When we act with integrity, speaking kindly, acting honestly, and treating others with respect, we reduce sources of inner conflict and guilt, which often contribute to anxiety. For example, someone prone to social anxiety might worry about offending others or being judged. By cultivating ethical habits, they build confidence in their interactions, easing interpersonal tensions. Ethics also extend to how we relate to the broader world. In today's hyper-connected society, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by global issues like climate change, inequality, and political unrest. While it's natural to care deeply about these matters, obsessing over them can amplify anxiety. Buddhism teaches the importance of balance, engaging with the world responsibly while maintaining equanimity. This means taking meaningful action where possible, but avoiding excessive attachment to outcomes beyond our control. Ultimately, the wisdom of Buddhism offers a holistic approach to addressing anxiety. Rather than viewing anxiety as a defect or flaw, it sees it as a natural response to misunderstanding reality. By cultivating mindfulness, embracing impermanence, practicing compassion, and living ethically, we transform our relationship with anxiety. We learn to meet it with curiosity and kindness, recognizing it as a teacher rather than an enemy. And in doing so, we uncover a deeper sense of peace and freedom. As we move forward in this journey, keep these teachings in mind. Reflect on how they resonate with your own experience of anxiety. Are there areas where you feel ready to explore new perspectives or practices? Remember, the path to liberation is not a straight line. It's a winding road filled with ups and downs. But with patience, persistence, and an open heart, you can navigate it successfully. In the chapters ahead, we'll dive deeper into specific practices inspired by Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness. Together, we'll explore how these tools can be integrated into your daily routine, creating lasting change and fostering a greater sense of well-being. For now, take a moment to absorb what we've covered so far. Allow these insights to settle within you, planting seeds of transformation that will continue to grow over time. Chapter 3: How Meditation Works. Meditation is far more than just sitting quietly or chanting mantras. It's a profound practice that rewires the mind, reshapes neural pathways, and fosters deep emotional and psychological transformation. At its core, meditation is about training the mind to become aware, focused, and resilient. For those struggling with anxiety, meditation offers a lifeline, a way to step out of the chaos of racing thoughts and into the calm of the present moment. But how exactly does meditation work? What happens in the brain and body when we meditate? And why is it so effective at reducing anxiety? Let's explore these questions in detail. To begin, let's clarify what meditation actually is. Contrary to popular misconceptions, meditation isn't about clearing your mind or achieving some mystical state of bliss. Instead, it's about cultivating awareness, observing your thoughts, emotions, and sensations without judgment or attachment. Think of it as exercising a muscle. Just as physical exercise strengthens your body, meditation strengthens your mind. Over time, this mental training enhances your ability to focus, regulate emotions, and respond skillfully to life's challenges. There are many types of meditation, each with its own techniques and goals. Some forms, like mindfulness meditation, emphasize staying present with whatever arises in your experience, whether it's a thought, feeling, or bodily sensation. Others, like loving-kindness meditation, focus on generating feelings of compassion and goodwill toward yourself and others. Still others, such as mantra-based meditation, involve repeating a word or phrase to anchor the mind. Despite their differences, all forms of meditation share a common purpose: helping you develop greater clarity, calm, and connection. Now let's delve into the science behind meditation. Advances in neuroscience have revealed fascinating insights into how meditation affects the brain. One of the most significant findings is that regular meditation increases grey matter density in areas associated with attention, emotional regulation, and self-awareness. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making, impulse control, and higher-order thinking, becomes stronger and more active through consistent practice. This enhanced activity allows you to better manage stress, make thoughtful choices, and maintain perspective during challenging situations. At the same time, meditation reduces activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center. The amygdala plays a key role in processing emotions, particularly fear and anxiety. When it becomes overactive, as it often does in people with chronic anxiety, it triggers the fight or flight response, flooding the body with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. This physiological reaction can leave you feeling tense, restless, and overwhelmed. Studies show that even short periods of meditation can shrink the amygdala, reducing its reactivity and promoting a sense of calm. This change alone can significantly alleviate symptoms of anxiety. Another remarkable effect of meditation is its impact on the default mode network, DMN, a group of interconnected brain regions involved in self-referential thinking. The DMN is active when your mind wanders, when you're daydreaming, ruminating, or replaying past events or future scenarios. While this type of thinking can be useful in certain contexts, excessive rumination is a hallmark of anxiety and depression. By practicing meditation, you weaken the grip of the DMN, allowing your mind to rest in the present moment rather than getting caught up in endless loops of worry and self-criticism. But meditation doesn't just transform the brain, it also influences the body. Chronic anxiety takes a toll on physical health, contributing to issues like high blood pressure, insomnia, digestive problems, and weakened immune function. Meditation counteracts these effects by activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which governs the body's relaxation response. When you meditate, your heart rate slows, your breathing deepens, and your muscles relax. This shift from fight or flight to rest and digest promotes healing and restores balance to your system. One of the most accessible and widely practiced forms of meditation is mindfulness meditation. In mindfulness meditation, the goal is to observe your experience without trying to change it. You might focus on your breath, noticing the sensation of air entering and leaving your nostrils. Or you might scan your body, paying attention to areas of tension or discomfort. Whenever your mind wanders, which it inevitably will, you gently bring your attention back to the object of focus. This process of returning to the present moment builds mental discipline and resilience. Mindfulness meditation is particularly effective for managing anxiety because it teaches you to relate differently to your thoughts and emotions. Anxiety thrives on identification. With anxious thoughts, we believe they define us. For example, if you think, "I'm going to fail," you might assume that thought reflects reality. Mindfulness meditation helps you see thoughts for what they truly are, transient mental events that come and go. By observing them without judgment, you create distance between yourself and your anxiety, reducing its power over you. Another powerful form of meditation is loving-kindness meditation, also known as metta. Metta involves silently repeating phrases of goodwill toward yourself and others, such as, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I live with ease." As you extend these wishes outward to loved ones, acquaintances, strangers, and even difficult people, you cultivate feelings of warmth and connection. This practice not only softens the heart, but also counters the isolation and negativity that often accompany anxiety. When you feel supported and cared for even by yourself, you're less likely to spiral into anxious thoughts. Mantra-based meditation offers yet another approach. In this practice, you repeat a word, phrase, or sound, such as peace, calm, or om, to anchor your attention. The repetition creates a rhythm that soothes the mind and quiets distracting thoughts. Mantras can be spoken aloud, whispered, or repeated internally depending on your preference. They serve as a focal point, helping you stay grounded when anxiety threatens to pull you away. Movement-based practices like yoga or walking meditation combine mindfulness with gentle physical activity. These forms of meditation are especially helpful for people who find it difficult to sit still for extended periods. In walking meditation, for instance, you walk slowly and deliberately, paying close attention to the sensation of each step. You might notice the lifting of your foot, the shifting of weight, and the placing of your heel on the ground. This mindful movement anchors you in the present moment while providing a release for pent-up energy. Regardless of the specific technique, all forms of meditation share a common thread. They train the mind to return to the present. Anxiety often pulls us out of the here and now, projecting us into imagined futures or replayed pasts. Meditation acts as an antidote, reminding us that the present moment is all we truly have. It teaches us to meet life as it unfolds, not as we wish it to be, but as it actually is. So, how do you start meditating? The beauty of meditation lies in its simplicity. All you need is a quiet space, a few minutes of uninterrupted time, and a willingness to try. Begin by setting a timer for 5 or 10 minutes, long enough to settle in, but short enough to feel manageable. Sit comfortably, either on a chair or cushion, with your back straight but relaxed. Close your eyes if it feels right, or keep them softly focused on the spot in front of you. Then, choose an anchor for your attention. This could be your breath, a mantra, or the sensations in your body. As you meditate, you'll notice that your mind wanders. Thoughts, emotions, and distractions will arise. That's completely normal. The key is not to judge yourself or force your mind to stop thinking. Instead, gently acknowledge whatever arises and return your focus to your chosen anchor. Each time you do this, you strengthen your ability to stay present. Over time, this practice becomes easier, and the benefits accumulate. Consistency is crucial when it comes to meditation. Just as you wouldn't expect to run a marathon after one workout, you shouldn't expect immediate results from meditation. Start small. Even 5 minutes a day can make a difference, and gradually increase the duration as you build confidence. Experiment with different techniques to discover what resonates with you. Some days, you might prefer a structured practice like mindfulness meditation. Other days, you might opt for something freer, like journaling or creative expression. The important thing is to show up regularly, trusting that the cumulative effect will enrich your life. It's also worth noting that meditation doesn't eliminate challenges or hardships. Life will still throw curveballs your way: difficult relationships, unexpected setbacks, moments of grief or loss. But meditation equips you with tools to face these experiences with greater equanimity. Instead of reacting impulsively, you learn to pause, breathe, and respond with wisdom and compassion. This shift in perspective transforms not only how you handle adversity, but also how you experience joy, love, and connection. For those dealing with anxiety, meditation provides a safe haven, a refuge from the storm of racing thoughts and heightened emotions. It reminds you that you are not your anxiety. You are the observer, the witness, the steady presence beneath the turbulence. With practice, you begin to trust this deeper part of yourself, knowing that no matter how intense the waves may seem, they can't drown you. In addition to its individual benefits, meditation has ripple effects that extend beyond the practitioner. When you meditate, you radiate a sense of calm and presence that positively impacts those around you. Your relationships improve because you're more patient, empathetic, and attuned to others' needs. Your interactions become richer and more meaningful because you're fully engaged rather than distracted or preoccupied. Even in stressful environments, your grounded energy can inspire others to slow down and reconnect with themselves. Finally, let's address a common concern. What if I'm doing it wrong? Many beginners worry that they're failing at meditation because their minds won't settle or they don't feel instantly relaxed. But here's the truth: there's no right or wrong way to meditate. The very act of showing up and trying is enough. Every session, whether calm or chaotic, is valuable because it teaches you something new about yourself. Over time, you'll develop a relationship with your practice that feels authentic and sustainable. As we move forward in this journey, consider integrating meditation into your daily routine. Find a time that works best for you, early morning, during lunch breaks, or before bed, and commit to it consistently. Treat it as a sacred appointment with yourself, a time to nurture your well-being. Remember, meditation is not a destination, it's a lifelong practice. The more you invest in it, the more it will reward you with clarity, peace, and resilience. In the chapters ahead, we'll explore additional tools and strategies inspired by Buddhism, mindfulness, and modern psychology. Together, we'll continue building a toolkit for eliminating anxiety and fostering lasting well-being. For now, reflect on what you've learned about meditation. How does it resonate with your own experience? Are there aspects you'd like to explore further? Trust that every step you take brings you closer to freedom from anxiety and alignment with your true self. Chapter 4: The Power of Breath. Breath is life. It's the thread that connects us to the present moment, the rhythm that sustains our existence, and one of the most powerful tools we have for managing anxiety. Yet, despite its profound importance, most of us take breathing for granted. We inhale and exhale thousands of times a day without giving it a second thought. But when we bring awareness to the breath, when we truly pay attention to its flow and subtleties, it becomes a gateway to calm, clarity, and transformation. In this chapter, we'll explore the science, philosophy, and practice of conscious breathing, uncovering how it can help us navigate anxiety and reconnect with our inner peace. To understand why the breath is so powerful, let's start with its biological function. Breathing is an autonomic process, meaning it happens automatically without conscious effort. However, unlike other autonomic functions like digestion or heart rate, breathing can also be controlled voluntarily. This dual nature makes it unique, a bridge between the conscious and unconscious mind. By choosing to focus on the breath, we tap into a mechanism that influences both our physical state and our mental landscape. When you breathe deeply and slowly, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which governs the body's relaxation response. This system counteracts the fight or flight response triggered by anxiety, calming the mind and soothing the body. Deep breathing signals to your brain that you're safe, reducing the production of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. As a result, your heart rate slows, your blood pressure drops, and your muscles relax. These physiological changes create a sense of ease and stability, even in the midst of chaos. Conversely, shallow or erratic breathing exacerbates anxiety. When you're stressed, your breathing tends to become rapid and shallow, limiting oxygen intake and perpetuating feelings of tension. This creates a feedback loop. Anxiety leads to poor breathing, and poor breathing intensifies anxiety. By consciously regulating your breath, you interrupt this cycle, restoring balance to your nervous system. Now let's delve deeper into the mechanics of breathing. The diaphragm, a dome-shaped muscle located below the lungs, plays a central role in respiration. During inhalation, the diaphragm contracts and moves downward, creating space for the lungs to expand. During exhalation, the diaphragm relaxes and moves upward, pushing air out of the lungs. When you breathe deeply, using your diaphragm rather than just your chest, you maximize oxygen exchange and engage the full capacity of your respiratory system. This type of breathing, known as diaphragmatic or belly breathing, is particularly effective for reducing anxiety. Diaphragmatic breathing involves expanding your abdomen as you inhale and contracting it as you exhale. To practice, place one hand on your chest and the other on your belly. As you breathe in through your nose, feel your belly rise while keeping your chest relatively still. As you exhale through your mouth, allow your belly to fall. This technique encourages slow, steady breaths, activating the vagus nerve, a key component of the parasympathetic nervous system, and promoting relaxation. In addition to its physiological effects, conscious breathing has profound psychological benefits. Anxiety often manifests as racing thoughts, overwhelming emotions, and a sense of disconnection from the present moment. Focusing on the breath anchors you in reality, grounding you in the here and now. Each inhale reminds you that you're alive, and each exhale invites you to let go of tension and resistance. By returning your attention to the breath whenever your mind wanders, you cultivate mindfulness, the ability to observe your experience without judgment or attachment. Mindfulness of breath is a cornerstone of many meditation practices, including those rooted in Buddhism. In Buddhist teachings, the breath is considered a primary object of meditation because it's always available and constantly changing. Unlike thoughts or emotions, which can be elusive and unpredictable, the breath provides a stable focal point. By observing its natural rhythm, its rising and falling, its warmth and coolness, you develop concentration and insight. Over time, this practice helps you see thoughts and emotions as transient phenomena rather than fixed truths. One of the simplest yet most effective breathing exercises is the 4-7-8 technique. Developed by Dr. Andrew Weil, this method involves inhaling quietly through your nose for a count of 4, holding your breath for a count of 7, and exhaling slowly through your mouth for a count of 8. This structured pattern not only regulates your breathing but also calms the nervous system and quiets the mind. The extended exhale is particularly important because it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, signaling to your body that it's safe to relax. Practicing this technique for just a few minutes can significantly reduce feelings of anxiety and promote a sense of inner peace. Another powerful breathing exercise is alternate nostril breathing, or Nadi Shodhana, a practice rooted in yogic traditions. To perform this technique, use your thumb to close one nostril while inhaling through the other. Then switch nostrils, closing the first and exhaling through the second. Continue alternating between nostrils, maintaining a steady rhythm. This practice balances the left and right hemispheres of the brain, harmonizing the logical and creative aspects of your mind. It also promotes mental clarity and emotional stability, making it an excellent tool for managing stress and anxiety. Box breathing, also known as square breathing, is another effective technique used by military personnel, athletes, and professionals to enhance focus and resilience. The method involves inhaling for a count of 4, holding the breath for 4, exhaling for 4, and pausing for 4 before repeating the cycle. The symmetry of the counts creates a sense of order and control, helping you regain composure during moments of overwhelm. Box breathing is particularly useful in high-pressure situations, as it quickly restores calm and sharpens your ability to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. While these techniques are valuable, the true power of conscious breathing lies in its simplicity. You don't need any special equipment or advanced skills to harness the benefits of the breath. All you need is a willingness to pay attention, to notice the sensation of air entering and leaving your body, the rise and fall of your chest, the subtle expansion and contraction of your abdomen. By bringing awareness to these details, you create a moment of stillness amidst the chaos, a sanctuary where anxiety cannot thrive. Breathing exercises are especially helpful when anxiety strikes unexpectedly. Imagine you're in the middle of a stressful meeting or facing a challenging situation. Instead of spiraling into panic, take a few deep breaths. Feel the cool air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and nourishing your cells. Notice how the tension in your shoulders begins to melt away, how your jaw softens, how your heartbeat steadies. In just a few seconds, you've shifted from a state of reactivity to one of presence and calm. This simple act of returning to the breath can make all the difference in how you navigate difficult moments. Beyond its immediate effects, conscious breathing fosters long-term resilience. When practiced regularly, it trains your nervous system to default to a state of relaxation rather than hyper-arousal. Over time, you'll find that you're less reactive to stressors and more capable of maintaining equilibrium in the face of adversity. This transformation doesn't happen overnight. It requires patience and consistency, but the rewards are well worth the effort. Breath awareness also serves as a foundation for mindfulness meditation. As mentioned earlier, the breath is a reliable anchor, a point of focus that keeps you grounded in the present moment. When meditating, you might choose to observe the entire cycle of breathing, from the initial inhalation to the pause at the top. from the gradual exhalation to the brief pause at the bottom. Each phase offers an opportunity to deepen your connection with the breath and, by extension, with yourself. If your mind wanders, which it inevitably will, you gently guide your attention back to the breath without judgment or frustration. This process strengthens your ability to concentrate and cultivates a sense of spaciousness and ease. In addition to formal meditation, you can incorporate breath awareness into everyday activities. For example, try practicing mindful breathing while commuting, waiting in line, or even during conversations. Simply tune into the sensation of your breath for a few moments, allowing it to center and stabilize you. These mini practices add up over time, reinforcing your capacity to stay present and reducing the likelihood of anxiety taking hold. The breath is also a powerful teacher, offering insights into your emotional state. When you're anxious, your breathing tends to become shallow and rapid, reflecting the agitation in your mind. By observing this pattern, you gain valuable information about your internal landscape. Instead of trying to suppress or ignore your anxiety, you meet it with curiosity and compassion, using the breath as a tool for self-inquiry. Ask yourself, what is my body telling me? What emotions are arising? What thoughts are fueling this tension? These questions help you develop greater self-awareness, empowering you to address the root causes of your anxiety rather than merely masking its symptoms. Conscious breathing can also be paired with visualization techniques to amplify its effects. For instance, imagine inhaling light, peace, or healing energy with each breath and exhaling tension, fear, or negativity. Picture the air flowing through your body like a gentle stream, cleansing and revitalizing every cell. Visualization enhances the calming properties of the breath, creating a multi-sensory experience that engages both body and mind. It's a way of infusing your practice with intention and creativity, making it feel more personal and meaningful. In many spiritual traditions, including Buddhism, the breath is seen as a sacred force, a vital link between the physical and metaphysical realms. In Buddhist teachings, the breath is often referred to as the bridge to enlightenment because it connects the mundane aspects of life with deeper truths about existence. By focusing on the breath, practitioners transcend ordinary consciousness and access states of profound insight and liberation. While you may not be seeking enlightenment in the traditional sense, the principles remain relevant. The breath is a portal to expanded awareness and inner freedom. For those new to breathwork, it's important to approach the practice with gentleness and patience. Start small, perhaps dedicating just 5 minutes a day to mindful breathing, and gradually increase the duration as you grow more comfortable. Experiment with different techniques to discover what resonates with you. Some days, you might prefer a structured exercise like 4-7-8 breathing. Other days, you might opt for something freer, like simply noticing the natural rhythm of your breath, and there's no right or wrong way to engage with the breath. All that matters is showing up and being present. It's also helpful to create a supportive environment for your practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed and consider incorporating elements like candles, incense, or soothing music to enhance the atmosphere. Sit comfortably, either on a chair or cushion, with your spine straight but relaxed. Close your eyes if it feels right, or keep them softly focused on a spot in front of you. Allow yourself to settle into the moment, letting go of distractions and expectations. As you deepen your relationship with the breath, you'll likely notice shifts in your overall well-being. Anxiety may still arise, it's a natural part of life, but you'll find that it no longer has the same grip on you. You'll develop a reservoir of calm that you can draw upon whenever needed, a sense of steadiness that carries you through life's ups and downs. And perhaps most importantly, you'll cultivate a greater appreciation for the simple miracle of being alive. Finally, let's acknowledge that the breath is not just a tool for managing anxiety. It's a reminder of our interconnectedness. Every inhalation draws in oxygen produced by plants and trees, while every exhalation releases carbon dioxide that sustains them. In this way, the breath connects us to the earth and to all living beings. By honoring the breath, we honor the web of life itself, fostering a sense of gratitude and reverence that transcends individual concerns. As we move forward in this journey, I encourage you to embrace the power of the breath as a cornerstone of your practice. Whether you're meditating, navigating daily challenges, or simply savoring a quiet moment, let the breath be your guide. Trust that it will always lead you home to the present moment, to your true self, and to the peace that resides within. In the chapters ahead, we'll continue exploring additional tools and strategies inspired by Buddhism, mindfulness, and modern psychology. Together, we'll build a comprehensive toolkit for eliminating anxiety and fostering lasting well-being. For now, reflect on what you've learned about the breath. How does it resonate with your own experience? Are there aspects you'd like to explore further? Remember, every breath you take is an opportunity to reconnect with yourself and reclaim your calm. Chapter 5. Letting go of control. One of the most pervasive sources of anxiety is our desire to control everything: our circumstances, relationships, emotions, and even the future. We live in a world that glorifies productivity, perfection, and certainty, constantly reinforcing the idea that we must have everything figured out. But life, by its very nature, is unpredictable. No matter how meticulously we plan or how hard we try to micromanage every detail, there will always be variables beyond our grasp. This tension between our need for control and the reality of impermanence creates fertile ground for anxiety to take root. In this chapter, we'll explore why letting go of control is essential for mental and emotional well-being, and how practices inspired by Buddhism, mindfulness, and modern psychology can help us embrace uncertainty with grace and resilience. To begin, let's examine why we cling to control in the first place. At its core, the need for control stems from fear of failure, rejection, loss, or the unknown. These fears are deeply ingrained in the human psyche, remnants of our evolutionary past, when survival depended on anticipating and avoiding threats. While this instinct served our ancestors well, it often backfires in modern life, where the stakes are rarely life or death. Instead of protecting us, our attempts to control amplify stress and anxiety, trapping us in cycles of worry and resistance. Consider a common scenario: someone preparing for an important presentation at work. They obsess over every detail, the content, the delivery, the audience's reaction, believing that if they can account for every possibility, they'll ensure success. But no matter how much they prepare, there's always room for error, a technical glitch, an unexpected question, or simply a less than enthusiastic response. The more they fixate on controlling the outcome, the more anxious they become, until the anticipation itself becomes unbearable. This pattern illustrates how the illusion of control perpetuates suffering. The truth is, we can't predict or dictate everything, and trying to do so only sets us up for disappointment. In contrast, letting go of control doesn't mean abandoning responsibility or giving up entirely. It means accepting that some things are outside our sphere of influence and trusting that we have the resources to adapt and respond. This shift in perspective aligns closely with Buddhist teachings on impermanence, or anicca. According to Buddhism, all phenomena, thoughts, emotions, relationships, material possessions are transient and subject to change. Nothing stays the same forever, and clinging to permanence only leads to suffering. By embracing impermanence, we learn to flow with life's natural rhythms rather than resisting them. Embracing impermanence requires a fundamental reorientation of how we relate to uncertainty. Anxiety thrives on the unknown, feeding off our tendency to anticipate worst-case scenarios and catastrophize potential outcomes. When we resist uncertainty, we create a paradox. The harder we try to eliminate ambiguity, the more entrenched our anxiety becomes. Letting go of control invites us to step into the unknown with openness and curiosity, recognizing that uncertainty is not inherently threatening, it's simply part of the human experience. One powerful metaphor for understanding this concept is the image of water flowing around obstacles. Imagine a river encountering a boulder in its path. The water doesn't fight the obstruction, it adjusts its course, finding new channels to move forward. Similarly, when we let go of rigid expectations and allow ourselves to adapt, we discover creative solutions and unexpected opportunities. Resistance, on the other hand, is like trying to hold back the tide, an exhausting and ultimately futile endeavor. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in helping us release the need for control. By cultivating awareness of the present moment, we train ourselves to observe thoughts and emotions without becoming entangled in them. For example, when an anxious thought arises, "What if I fail?" we notice it without identifying with it. Instead of spiraling into catastrophic thinking, we acknowledge the thought as a temporary mental event and gently return our focus to the here and now. This practice weakens the grip of anxious thoughts, reducing their power to dominate our minds. Another key aspect of letting go is developing trust, not in external forces, but in ourselves. Anxiety often stems from a lack of confidence in our ability to handle challenges. We fear that we won't be able to cope with adversity, so we cling to control as a way of mitigating risk. However, the more we practice facing difficulties head-on, with patience, courage, and self-compassion, the more resilient we become. Trusting ourselves doesn't mean assuming we'll never struggle. It means knowing that we have the inner strength to navigate whatever comes our way. This trust can be cultivated through gradual exposure to uncertainty. Start small, perhaps by deliberately stepping outside your comfort zone in low-stakes situations. For instance, if you're someone who likes to plan every detail of your day, try leaving some time unscheduled and see what unfolds. Or if you tend to avoid difficult conversations, challenge yourself to address a minor issue with honesty and vulnerability. Each time you lean into discomfort instead of retreating, you reinforce your capacity to tolerate ambiguity and build confidence in your ability to adapt. It's also important to recognize that letting go of control involves relinquishing attachment to specific outcomes. In many cases, our anxiety revolves around achieving certain goals, getting a promotion, maintaining a perfect relationship, or ensuring financial security. While having aspirations is natural, attaching our sense of worth or happiness to these achievements creates unnecessary pressure. What if, instead of focusing solely on results, we directed our attention to the process itself? By savoring the journey, embracing effort, learning, and growth, we free ourselves from the tyranny of expectations and find joy in the present moment. Buddhism offers a helpful framework for reframing attachment through the concept of non-attachment, or upekkha. Non-attachment doesn't mean indifference or apathy. It means engaging fully with life while remaining unattached to particular outcomes. For example, a parent might want their child to succeed academically, but they understand that true fulfillment comes from supporting their child's unique path rather than imposing their own desires. Similarly, in our own lives, we can pursue goals passionately while staying open to alternative possibilities. This mindset reduces anxiety by shifting the focus from what if to what is. Gratitude is another powerful antidote to the need for control. When we cultivate gratitude, we shift our attention from what's lacking to what's abundant in our lives. Instead of obsessing over uncertainties or perceived shortcomings, we celebrate the gifts we already have: our health, relationships, talents, and experiences. Gratitude reminds us that life is rich and multifaceted, even amidst challenges. It fosters a sense of contentment that transcends external circumstances, making us less reliant on controlling outcomes for happiness. Practicing gratitude can take many forms. One simple exercise is keeping a daily gratitude journal where you write down 3 things you're thankful for each day. These could be big milestones or small moments: a kind word from a friend, a beautiful sunset, or the warmth of a morning cup of tea. Over time, this habit rewires your brain to scan for positivity rather than negativity, creating a more optimistic outlook. You might also experiment with gratitude meditations, where you silently express appreciation for various aspects of your life, including your body, breath, and surroundings. Surrendering control also involves acknowledging that we are part of something larger than ourselves. Many spiritual traditions emphasize the interconnectedness of all beings, suggesting that our individual struggles are woven into a broader tapestry of existence. From this perspective, anxiety loses some of its urgency. Rather than viewing ourselves as isolated entities battling against the world, we see ourselves as participants in a shared journey, supported by countless unseen forces. This realization can be profoundly comforting, reminding us that we don't have to carry the weight of the world alone. For those struggling with the idea of surrender, it may help to reframe it as alignment rather than resignation. Surrender isn't about giving up, it's about aligning with the flow of life, trusting that everything happens for a reason and that even setbacks can lead to growth. Think of a surfer riding a wave. They don't fight the ocean, they move with it, harnessing its energy to propel themselves forward. In the same way, when we align with life's currents, we tap into a source of strength and wisdom far greater than our individual willpower. Letting go of control is particularly relevant in the context of mindfulness meditation. During meditation, we often encounter resistance, thoughts telling us we're doing it wrong, emotions urging us to stop, or physical sensations demanding our attention. Instead of fighting these distractions, we practice observing them with compassion and returning to our anchor, whether it's the breath, a mantra, or bodily sensations. This act of gentle surrender teaches us to meet challenges with equanimity, both on and off the cushion. In addition to meditation, movement-based practices like yoga or Tai Chi embody the principle of surrender. These disciplines emphasize flowing with the body's natural rhythms rather than forcing it into rigid poses. By listening to your body and respecting its limits, you cultivate a sense of ease and acceptance that extends beyond the mat. For example, in yoga you might focus on releasing tension in areas where you tend to hold stress, such as the shoulders or jaw, allowing gravity to support you. This physical release mirrors the emotional release that comes from letting go of control. Finally, it's worth noting that letting go of control is a lifelong practice, not a one-time achievement. There will be days when you feel completely at peace with uncertainty, and others when old habits of grasping and resistance resurface. That's okay. What matters is your willingness to keep showing up, to keep experimenting with new ways of relating to life. Over time, you'll notice subtle shifts, moments of clarity, acceptance, and trust that accumulate into lasting transformation. As we move forward in this journey, I invite you to reflect on your relationship with control. Where do you feel the strongest pull to micromanage or predict outcomes? How does this attachment manifest in your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors? Are there areas where you're ready to experiment with letting go, even just a little? Remember, surrender is not a sign of weakness, it's an act of profound courage and faith. By releasing the need to control, you create space for life to unfold in its own mysterious and beautiful way. In the chapters ahead, we'll continue exploring tools and strategies inspired by Buddhism, mindfulness, and modern psychology. Together, we'll deepen our understanding of how to eliminate anxiety and cultivate lasting well-being. For now, take a moment to absorb what we've covered about letting go of control. Allow these insights to settle within you, planting seeds of transformation that will continue to grow over time. Chapter 6. Practicing mindfulness in daily life. Mindfulness is not confined to meditation cushions or quiet retreats. It's a way of being that can permeate every aspect of our lives. When practiced consistently, mindfulness transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for connection, awareness, and peace. For those seeking relief from anxiety, integrating mindfulness into daily life offers a practical and sustainable path to greater well-being. In this chapter, we'll explore how mindfulness works in real-world contexts, providing tools and strategies to help you stay grounded and present, no matter where you are or what you're doing. To begin, let's clarify what mindfulness truly means. At its essence, mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment with openness, curiosity, and non-judgment. It's about noticing what's happening within and around you, your thoughts, emotions, bodily sensations, and environment, without getting caught up in reactivity or distraction. While meditation provides a structured way to cultivate mindfulness, the real magic happens when you bring this quality of awareness into your everyday experiences. One of the most accessible ways to practice mindfulness is through mindful breathing. The breath is always available, making it a reliable anchor for returning to the present moment. Whether you're brushing your teeth, waiting in line, or sitting at your desk, you can pause and tune into your breath. Notice the sensation of air entering and leaving your nostrils, the rise and fall of your chest, the subtle expansion and contraction of your abdomen. Even a few conscious breaths can interrupt the momentum of anxious thoughts and ground you in the here and now. Let's take a closer look at how mindfulness can enhance specific daily activities. Consider something as routine as drinking a cup of tea or coffee. Most of us rush through this ritual, sipping absent-mindedly while scrolling through our phones or thinking about the day ahead. But what if you approached it differently? What if you brought your full attention to the experience? Feel the warmth of the mug in your hands, inhale the aroma rising from the surface, and savor the taste as it spreads across your tongue. By engaging all your senses, you transform a mundane act into a moment of mindfulness, a small but meaningful way to reconnect with yourself and the world around you. Eating is another activity ripe for mindful exploration. In our fast-paced culture, meals are often consumed quickly and without much thought. We eat while working, watching TV, or scrolling through social media, barely registering what we're putting into our bodies. Mindful eating invites us to slow down and fully experience our food. Before taking your first bite, take a moment to appreciate the colors, textures, and aromas on your plate. As you chew, notice the flavors unfolding, the sweetness, saltiness, bitterness, or spiciness, and how they change over time. Pay attention to the sensations of hunger and fullness, eating until you feel satisfied rather than stuffed. This practice not only enhances enjoyment but also promotes healthier eating habits and better digestion. Walking is another opportunity to practice mindfulness. Whether you're commuting, exercising, or simply moving from one room to another, walking can become a meditative act. Start by standing still for a moment, feeling the weight of your body on the ground and the support of the earth beneath your feet. As you begin to walk, focus on the sensation of each step, the lifting of your foot, the shifting of weight, the placing of your heel on the ground. If you're outdoors, notice the sights, sounds, and smells around you, the rustling of leaves, the chirping of birds, the cool breeze against your skin. Walking mindfully helps you reconnect with your body and the environment, creating a sense of flow and ease. Household chores, though often seen as tedious, can also be infused with mindfulness. Washing dishes, for example, becomes an exercise in sensory awareness. Feel the temperature of the water, the texture of the soap bubbles, the smoothness of the plates. Sweep the floor with intention, noticing the rhythm of your movements and the satisfaction of creating order. Folding laundry can be a chance to appreciate the softness of fabrics or the vibrant hues of your clothes. When approached with mindfulness, these tasks cease to feel like burdens and instead become moments of calm and creativity. Even seemingly stressful situations, like commuting or dealing with difficult conversations, can benefit from mindfulness. During a commute, whether by car, bus, or train, resist the urge to multitask or dwell on worries. Instead, focus on your surroundings, the hum of the engine, the sway of the vehicle, the faces of fellow passengers. If you're stuck in traffic, use the time to practice deep breathing or repeat a calming mantra. Similarly, During challenging interactions, listen attentively to the other person, observing their tone, facial expressions, and body language. Respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively, staying grounded in the present moment. Mindfulness isn't limited to external activities, it also applies to internal states. Our minds are constantly generating thoughts, many of which are repetitive or unhelpful. Anxiety in particular thrives on rumination, replaying past events or anticipating future scenarios. Mindfulness teaches us to observe these thoughts without identifying with them. Imagine your mind as a vast sky and your thoughts as clouds drifting across it. Some clouds are dark and stormy, while others are light and fluffy. Regardless of their appearance, they all pass eventually. By adopting this perspective, you create distance between yourself and your thoughts, reducing their power to dominate your mind. Emotions, too, can be approached with mindfulness. Instead of suppressing or avoiding uncomfortable feelings, try acknowledging them with curiosity and compassion. For instance, if you're feeling anxious, ask yourself, where do I feel this in my body? Is it tightness in my chest and not in my stomach, or restlessness in my limbs? Allow the sensation to exist without judgment, knowing that it will ebb and flow like waves in the ocean. This practice not only lessens the intensity of emotions, but also fosters self-awareness and emotional regulation. Technology, while incredibly useful, can sometimes hinder mindfulness by pulling us into endless streams of information and distraction. To counteract this, set boundaries around your device usage. Designate tech-free times or zones, such as during meals or before bed, to give yourself space to unwind and recharge. When using technology, do so intentionally, whether it's checking emails, browsing social media, or streaming videos, rather than mindlessly scrolling out of habit. You might also experiment with digital detoxes, temporarily stepping away from screens to reconnect with analog pleasures like reading, journaling, or spending time in nature. Speaking of nature, spending time outdoors is one of the most powerful ways to practice mindfulness. Nature has a way of grounding us, reminding us of our place within the larger web of life. Take a walk in a park, sit by a river, or simply gaze at the stars at night. Notice the intricate details, the patterns on tree bark, the ripples on water, the play of light and shadow. Let go of the need to label or analyze what you see, allowing yourself to simply be present with the beauty around you. Studies show that exposure to nature reduces stress, boosts mood, and enhances cognitive function, making it an invaluable resource for managing anxiety. Gratitude is another cornerstone of mindful living. By cultivating gratitude, we shift our focus from what's lacking to what's abundant in our lives. Each day presents countless opportunities to express appreciation for the people who enrich our lives, the experiences that bring us joy, and even the challenges that teach us resilience. Gratitude practices, such as keeping a journal or reflecting silently, deepen our connection to the present moment and foster a sense of contentment that transcends external circumstances. For those new to mindfulness, it's important to start small and build gradually. Begin by choosing one or two activities to approach mindfully, such as brushing your teeth or drinking your morning coffee. Over time, expand your practice to include other areas of your life. Be patient with yourself. Mindfulness is a skill that develops with consistent effort. There will be days when distractions pull you away, and that's okay. What matters is your willingness to keep trying, knowing that each moment of awareness strengthens your ability to stay present. It's also helpful to create reminders to support your mindfulness practice. Place sticky notes with affirmations like breathe or be here now in visible locations, such as your bathroom mirror or computer screen. Set alarms on your phone to prompt brief check-ins throughout the day, pausing to notice your breath or surroundings. Surround yourself with objects that evoke mindfulness, such as candles, plants, or inspiring quotes. These small touches reinforce your commitment to living with greater awareness. Finally, remember that mindfulness is not about achieving perfection or eliminating discomfort. Life will always include challenges, uncertainties, and moments of difficulty. Mindfulness equips you to navigate these experiences with grace and resilience, helping you find peace amidst the chaos. It's a lifelong journey, one that unfolds uniquely for each individual. Trust that every step you take brings you closer to alignment with your true self and a deeper sense of fulfillment. As we move forward in this exploration, I encourage you to embrace mindfulness as a way of life. Look for opportunities to infuse your days with presence and awareness, no matter how ordinary the activity may seem. Whether you're washing dishes, walking in nature, or engaging in conversation, let mindfulness guide you back to the richness of the present moment. Over time, you'll discover that mindfulness isn't something you do, it's something you are. In the chapters ahead, we'll continue exploring additional tools and strategies inspired by Buddhism, mindfulness, and modern psychology. Together, we'll build a comprehensive toolkit for eliminating anxiety and fostering lasting well-being. For now, reflect on what you've learned about practicing mindfulness in daily life. How does it resonate with your own experience? Are there aspects you'd like to explore further? Remember, the seeds of transformation are planted in the smallest moments of awareness. Chapter 7. Facing Fear Without Resistance. Fear is one of the most primal and universal human experiences. It's a natural response to perceived threats, whether real or imagined, and it serves an important evolutionary purpose: to protect us from harm. However, in modern life, fear often manifests in ways that no longer serve us. Instead of shielding us from genuine danger, it traps us in cycles of anxiety, avoidance, and self-doubt. The good news is that we don't have to let fear control us. By learning to face it without resistance, meeting it with curiosity, compassion, and courage, we can transform our relationship with fear and reclaim our sense of peace and freedom. To understand why facing fear is so important, let's first examine how fear operates. At its core, fear arises when we perceive a threat to our safety, well-being, or identity. This could be anything from a physical danger, like encountering a wild animal, to an emotional challenge, like speaking in public or confronting a difficult conversation. When fear takes hold, it triggers the body's fight or flight response, flooding the system with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Our heart rate increases, our muscles tense, and our senses sharpen, all designed to prepare us for action. While this physiological response was crucial for survival in prehistoric times, it often becomes maladaptive in today's world. Many of the threats we face are psychological rather than physical. Worries about the future, fears of failure, or concerns about how others perceive us. These imagined dangers activate the same stress response as real ones, leaving us feeling anxious, overwhelmed, and exhausted. Over time, chronic fear can erode our mental and emotional health, making it harder to function effectively and enjoy life. One of the reasons fear feels so overwhelming is that we tend to resist it. We view fear as something to be avoided, suppressed, or eliminated, believing that if we can just get rid of it, we'll feel safe and secure. But paradoxically, resisting fear only amplifies its power. When we push fear away, we send a message to our subconscious mind that it's dangerous, reinforcing its grip on us. Instead of disappearing, fear grows stronger, lurking beneath the surface and manifesting in subtle yet persistent ways: restlessness, irritability, procrastination, or even physical symptoms like headaches or stomach aches. The key to breaking free from this cycle lies in shifting our relationship with fear. Rather than seeing it as an enemy to be defeated, we can approach it as a teacher, an ally that reveals hidden truths about ourselves and our lives. Fear often points to areas where we're holding back, where we're afraid to take risks or step outside our comfort zones. By listening to what fear has to tell us, we gain valuable insights into our deepest desires, values, and vulnerabilities. This doesn't mean acting recklessly or ignoring legitimate risks. It means acknowledging fear without letting it dictate our choices. Mindfulness is a powerful tool for transforming our relationship with fear. Through mindfulness, we learn to observe fear with openness and non-judgment, recognizing it as a temporary experience rather than a fixed truth. For example, imagine you're preparing for a big presentation at work. As the date approaches, you notice waves of fear washing over you. What if I mess up? What if people judge me? Instead of trying to suppress these thoughts or distract yourself, you pause and acknowledge them. You might say to yourself, here's fear again. It's telling me I care about doing well. By naming the emotion and exploring its roots, you create distance between yourself and your fear, reducing its intensity and allowing you to respond more skillfully. Another way mindfulness helps us face fear is by grounding us in the present moment. Fear often pulls us out of the here and now, projecting us into imagined futures or replayed pasts. We catastrophize potential outcomes or dwell on previous failures, creating a mental loop that fuels anxiety. Mindfulness interrupts this pattern by anchoring us in the reality of the present. Each time you bring your attention back to your breath, your body, or your surroundings, you remind yourself that you're safe in this moment. Even if fear lingers, you know you can handle whatever arises because you're not lost in speculation. You're rooted in what's actually happening. Compassion is another essential ingredient in facing fear without resistance. Often we respond to fear with harsh self-criticism, berating ourselves for being weak, irrational, or inadequate. This only compounds our suffering, adding layers of shame and guilt to an already challenging experience. Self-compassion, on the other hand, softens the edges of fear, creating space for healing and growth. When you notice fear arising, try speaking to yourself with kindness and understanding. You might say, "I'm scared right now, and that's okay. Everyone feels fear sometimes. I'm doing my best, and I'll get through this." Loving kindness meditation, or metta, is a particularly effective practice for cultivating compassion toward fear. In metta meditation, you silently repeat phrases of goodwill toward yourself and others, such as, "May I be safe, may I be happy, may I live with ease." By extending these wishes to yourself, you counteract the isolation and negativity that often accompany fear. You remind yourself that you deserve care and support even and especially when you're struggling. Over time, this practice builds resilience, helping you approach fear with greater warmth and confidence. Courage plays a vital role in facing fear without resistance. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the willingness to act despite it. Think of someone standing at the edge of a high dive, heart pounding, palms sweating, yet choosing to jump anyway. That leap requires trust, not necessarily in the outcome, but in their ability to navigate whatever happens next. Similarly, when we face fear with courage, we acknowledge its presence while committing to move forward. We take small, deliberate steps toward our goals, knowing that progress doesn't require perfection, it simply requires persistence. Building courage starts with identifying the specific fears that hold you back. Are you afraid of rejection, failure, or uncertainty? Once you've pinpointed these fears, break them down into manageable pieces. For instance, if you're terrified of public speaking, start by practicing in front of a mirror, then with a trusted friend, and finally in front of larger groups. Each step stretches your comfort zone, gradually increasing your tolerance for discomfort. Celebrate every victory, no matter how small, and remember that courage is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Visualization is another powerful technique for facing fear. By mentally rehearsing challenging situations, you prepare your mind and body to respond calmly and confidently. Before an intimidating event, a job interview, a performance, or a difficult conversation, imagine yourself succeeding. Picture the scene in vivid detail, the setting, the people involved, your actions and words. Feel the emotions associated with success: pride, relief, joy. Visualization primes your brain to anticipate positive outcomes, reducing fear and boosting self-assurance. It's also helpful to reframe fear as excitement. Research shows that the physiological responses to fear and excitement are remarkably similar: increased heart rate, heightened alertness, and surges of energy. The difference lies in how we interpret these sensations. When we label them as fear, we perceive them as negative and debilitating. But when we reframe them as excitement, we harness their power to fuel action and creativity. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm so nervous about this presentation," try saying, "I'm excited to share my ideas and connect with the audience." This simple shift in perspective can dramatically alter your experience. Facing fear without resistance doesn't mean eliminating it entirely. Fear will always be part of life. It's an integral aspect of growth and transformation. What changes is our relationship with it. Instead of running from fear, we turn toward it with curiosity and compassion. We ask ourselves, what is this fear trying to teach me? How can I honor it while still pursuing my dreams? By engaging with fear in this way, we transform it from an obstacle into an opportunity, a catalyst for deeper self-awareness and personal evolution. Let's explore some practical strategies for integrating this mindset into daily life. One approach is to keep a fear journal where you regularly document your fears and reflect on them. Write down what scares you, why it scares you, and how it makes you feel. Then, consider what actions you can take to address the fear constructively. For example, if you're afraid of networking events, you might commit to attending one event per month and setting small goals, like introducing yourself to 3 new people. Tracking your progress in this way helps you stay accountable and celebrate incremental wins. Another strategy is to surround yourself with supportive influences. Fear thrives in isolation, so seek out communities, mentors, or friends who encourage and inspire you. Share your fears with trusted individuals and allow them to offer guidance and reassurance. Sometimes simply voicing our fears aloud diminishes their power, reminding us that we're not alone in facing them. Physical movement is also a potent antidote to fear. Exercise releases endorphins, which improve mood and reduce stress, while simultaneously building confidence and resilience. Whether it's yoga, running, dancing, or martial arts, find a form of movement that resonates with you and make it a regular part of your routine. Physical activity not only strengthens your body, but also reinforces your ability to overcome challenges. Finally, remember that facing fear is a lifelong journey. There will be moments of triumph and moments of struggle, and both are equally valuable. What matters is your commitment to showing up again and again with openness and determination. Each time you choose to face fear rather than flee from it, you expand your capacity for courage and deepen your connection to your authentic self. As we move forward in this exploration, I invite you to embrace fear as a companion on your path to growth and fulfillment. Look for opportunities to lean into discomfort, trusting that you have the strength to navigate whatever arises. Whether you're tackling a daunting project, navigating a challenging relationship, or simply stepping outside your comfort zone, let fear guide you, not by dictating your choices, but by revealing the depths of your potential. In the chapters ahead, we'll continue exploring tools and strategies inspired by Buddhism, mindfulness, and modern psychology. Together, we'll build a comprehensive toolkit for eliminating anxiety and fostering lasting well-being. For now, reflect on what you've learned about facing fear without resistance. How does it resonate with your own experience? Are there aspects you'd like to explore further? Remember, courage is born in the willingness to confront fear, and each step you take brings you closer to freedom. Chapter 8. Cultivating Compassion. Compassion is one of the most transformative qualities we can cultivate in our lives. It's the ability to meet suffering with kindness, understanding, and a desire to alleviate it, whether that suffering belongs to ourselves or others. While compassion is often associated with altruism and empathy, its benefits extend far beyond interpersonal relationships. When practiced consistently, compassion becomes a powerful antidote to anxiety, fostering resilience, connection, and a profound sense of well-being. In this chapter, we'll explore why compassion is essential for mental health, how it intersects with mindfulness and Buddhism, and how you can integrate it into your daily life to reduce anxiety and nurture peace. Clarify what compassion truly means, At its core, compassion involves recognizing pain, whether emotional, physical, or psychological, and responding with care and support. Unlike pity, which can create distance or hierarchy, compassion fosters equality and connection. It acknowledges that suffering is a universal human experience, something we all share regardless of our differences. This shared vulnerability creates a foundation for empathy and understanding, bridging divides and dissolving feelings of isolation. Self-compassion in particular plays a critical role in managing anxiety. Anxiety often triggers harsh self-criticism, fueling a cycle of negativity and shame. We blame ourselves for feeling anxious, telling ourselves we're weak, irrational, or inadequate. But self-compassion offers a different approach, an invitation to treat ourselves with the same kindness and care we'd offer a dear friend. When we practice self-compassion, we acknowledge our struggles without judgment, reminding ourselves that imperfection is part of being human. This shift in perspective reduces the intensity of anxiety and promotes emotional healing. Dr. Kristin Neff, a leading researcher on self-compassion, identifies 3 key components of the practice: self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness. Self-kindness involves speaking to ourselves gently and constructively, especially during difficult times. Instead of berating ourselves for mistakes or setbacks, we offer reassurance and encouragement. For example, if you're feeling overwhelmed by anxiety, you might say to yourself, "This is really hard right now, but I'm doing my best. I'm not alone in feeling this way." These simple affirmations soften the edges of fear and remind us that we deserve compassion, even when we're struggling. Common humanity reinforces the idea that suffering is a shared experience. Anxiety can make us feel isolated, as though we're the only ones grappling with uncertainty or fear. But when we zoom out and recognize that everyone faces challenges, we feel less alone. This realization doesn't minimize our pain, it contextualizes it, helping us see that we're part of a larger web of humanity. By embracing our interconnectedness, we dissolve feelings of shame and build a sense of solidarity with others. Mindfulness, the third component of self-compassion, involves observing our thoughts and emotions without over-identifying with them. When anxiety arises, we notice it without letting it define us. We might say, here's anxiety again, it's uncomfortable, but it's just a passing state. This mindful awareness creates space between us and our emotions, reducing their power to dominate our minds. Mindfulness also helps us stay grounded in the present moment, preventing us from spiraling into catastrophic thinking about the future or ruminating on past failures. In addition to self-compassion, extending compassion to others amplifies its benefits. Acts of kindness, whether big or small, create a ripple effect, enhancing not only the recipient's well-being, but also our own. Research shows that helping others boosts mood, increases feelings of connection, and reduces stress. When we focus on someone else's needs, we temporarily step outside our own worries, gaining perspective and breaking free from the grip of anxiety. Even simple gestures like offering a smile, listening attentively, or holding the door open can brighten someone's day and remind us of our capacity to make a positive impact. One of the most effective ways to cultivate compassion is through loving kindness meditation, or metta rooted in Buddhist teachings. Metta involves silently repeating phrases of goodwill toward yourself and others. These phrases might include, "May I be safe," "May I be happy," "May I live with ease." Once you've extended these wishes to yourself, you gradually widen the circle of compassion, directing them toward loved ones, acquaintances, strangers, and even difficult people. The goal isn't to force forgiveness or affection, but to cultivate an attitude of openness and benevolence. Metta. Meditation has been shown to increase positive emotions, reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety, and enhance social connection. It works by rewiring the brain, strengthening neural pathways associated with empathy and altruism, while weakening those linked to fear and hostility. Over time, this practice softens the heart, making it easier to respond to challenges with patience and understanding rather than reactivity and defensiveness. For those new to metta meditation, start small. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed and sit comfortably with your eyes closed. Begin by focusing on your breath, allowing yourself to settle into the present moment. Then, bring to mind someone you love deeply, a family member, friend, or mentor, and silently repeat phrases of goodwill toward them. Picture their face, feel their presence, and imagine them surrounded by warmth and light. Once you've spent a few minutes cultivating compassion for this person, turn your attention inward. Offer the same wishes to yourself, releasing any resistance or self-judgment that arises. Finally, expand the circle of compassion to include neutral individuals like a barista or co-worker, challenging people, someone who has hurt or frustrated you, and ultimately, all beings everywhere. Another way to practice compassion is through acts of service. Volunteering, mentoring, or simply lending a hand to someone in need allows us to channel our energy outward, creating meaning and purpose in our lives. Service reminds us that we're part of something larger than ourselves, fostering gratitude and humility. It also provides opportunities to connect with others, building relationships based on mutual respect and care. Whether you're tutoring a child, cleaning up a park, or visiting an elderly neighbor, every act of kindness contributes to a more compassionate world and a calmer, more centered version of yourself. Compassion also plays a vital role in repairing and strengthening relationships. Anxiety often strains connections, causing us to withdraw or lash out at loved ones. By approaching conflicts with compassion, we create space for understanding and resolution. Instead of reacting impulsively to frustration or hurt, we pause and consider the other person's perspective. We ask ourselves, what might they be feeling? What unmet needs are driving their behavior? This empathetic inquiry diffuses tension and opens the door to constructive dialogue. Over time, practicing compassion in relationships builds trust, deepens intimacy, and enhances overall satisfaction. It's important to note that cultivating compassion doesn't mean ignoring boundaries or tolerating harmful behavior. Healthy compassion requires discernment, the ability to distinguish between genuine care and enabling dysfunction. For example, if someone repeatedly violates your trust or takes advantage of your kindness, setting clear limits is an act of self-compassion. Similarly, recognizing when you need to prioritize your own well-being, whether through rest, therapy, or saying no to excessive demands, is essential for sustaining compassion in the long term. Compassion intersects beautifully with mindfulness, creating a synergy that amplifies both practices. Mindfulness teaches us to observe our experiences without attachment or aversion, while compassion invites us to respond to those experiences with warmth and care. Together they form a dynamic duo that transforms how we relate to ourselves and the world. For instance, imagine you're feeling overwhelmed by work deadlines. A mindful approach would involve acknowledging the stress without judgment, noticing how it manifests in your body and mind. A compassionate approach would then layer on kindness, perhaps by reminding yourself, I'm doing my best under challenging circumstances, it's okay to feel stretched thin right now. This combination of awareness and care creates a sense of equilibrium, helping you navigate difficulties with grace and resilience. Buddhism offers rich insights into the nature of compassion, framing it as a path to liberation. According to Buddhist teachings, suffering arises from ignorance and attachment, our mistaken belief that happiness depends on external conditions or fixed identities. Compassion counters this delusion by emphasizing interconnectedness and impermanence. When we see ourselves as part of a vast, ever-changing web of life, we naturally extend care to others, knowing that their well-being is inseparable from our own. This expansive view of compassion transcends individual concerns, inspiring actions that benefit not only ourselves, but also the broader community. One of the most profound expressions of compassion in Buddhism is the concept of bodhisattva, or the awakened heart. Bodhisattva refers to the aspiration to achieve enlightenment not for personal gain, but for the sake of all sentient beings. While this ideal may seem lofty, it serves as a guiding principle for everyday life. Each time we choose kindness over cruelty, generosity over greed, or patience over irritation, we embody bodhisattva in action. These small choices accumulate over time, shaping a life characterized by wisdom, courage, and love. Integrating compassion into daily life requires intention and consistency. Start by setting reminders to check in with yourself throughout the day. How are you feeling? Are you treating yourself with kindness, or are you falling into patterns of criticism and comparison? If you notice negativity creeping in, pause and redirect your attention to something uplifting. A memory of joy, a phrase of encouragement, or visualization of light filling your body. You might also experiment with random acts of kindness, surprising yourself with opportunities to spread goodwill. Leave a generous tip for a server, send a thoughtful message to a friend, or pick up litter in your neighborhood. These moments of connection reinforce the habit of compassion, making it second nature. Gratitude is another powerful complement to compassion. By cultivating gratitude, we shift our focus from scarcity to abundance, recognizing the countless blessings in our lives. Gratitude practices, such as keeping a journal or reflecting silently, deepen our appreciation for the people, experiences, and resources that sustain us. They also inspire us to pay it forward, sharing our good fortune with others. For example, if you're grateful for a supportive colleague, consider mentoring someone newer to the team. If you're thankful for access to clean water, contribute to organizations working to provide safe drinking water worldwide. Gratitude and compassion go hand in hand, creating a virtuous cycle of positivity and generosity. Finally, remember that compassion is a practice, not a destination. There will be days when you feel overflowing with love and kindness, and others when you struggle to muster patience or empathy. That's okay. What matters is your willingness to keep showing up, to keep planting seeds of compassion even when the soil feels dry. Trust that every effort counts, whether it's a kind word, a gentle touch, or simply the intention to care. Over time, these seeds grow into a garden of connection, resilience, and peace. As we move forward in this exploration, I encourage you to embrace compassion as a cornerstone of your journey toward eliminating anxiety and fostering lasting well-being. Look for opportunities to infuse your days with kindness and understanding, both for yourself and for others. Whether you're navigating personal challenges, repairing relationships, or contributing to your community, let compassion guide you. Know that each act of care ripples outward, touching lives in ways you may never fully see, but always deeply feel. In the chapters ahead, we'll continue exploring tools and strategies inspired by Buddhism, mindfulness, and modern psychology. Together, we'll build a comprehensive toolkit for transforming anxiety into peace and cultivating a life of presence and fulfillment. For now, reflect on what you've learned about cultivating compassion. How does it resonate with your own experience? Are there aspects you'd like to explore further? Remember, compassion begins with a single step, and each step you take brings you closer to freedom. Chapter 9: Building a Sustainable Practice. One of the most common challenges people face when trying to reduce anxiety through mindfulness, meditation, or compassion is consistency. It's easy to feel inspired after learning about these practices, reading books, watching videos, or attending workshops. But translating that inspiration into a sustainable routine can be daunting. The truth is, lasting change doesn't happen overnight. It requires patience, commitment, and a willingness to adapt as you go. In this chapter, we'll explore how to build a practice that works for you, one that fits seamlessly into your life, supports your goals, and evolves alongside your needs. By focusing on sustainability rather than perfection, you create a foundation for long-term growth and well-being. To begin, let's address a common misconception: that mindfulness and meditation require hours of dedicated time each day. While longer sessions can certainly deepen your practice, they're not a prerequisite for progress. In fact, research shows that even 5 minutes of mindful breathing or meditation can have significant benefits for mental health. The key is consistency, not duration. Regularly showing up, even in small ways, creates momentum and reinforces new habits. Over time, these brief moments of awareness accumulate, leading to profound shifts in how you think, feel, and respond to life's challenges. So, how do you start building a sustainable practice? Begin by setting clear, achievable intentions. Ask yourself, what do I hope to gain from this practice? Is it greater calm, improved focus, reduced anxiety, or deeper self-awareness? Once you've identified your goals, break them down into manageable steps. For example, if your goal is to meditate daily, commit to just 2 minutes on the first day. As you grow more comfortable, gradually increase the duration, perhaps to 5 minutes, then 10, and so on. Setting realistic expectations prevents overwhelm and sets you up for success. Creating structure is another essential element of sustainability. Without a plan, it's easy to fall into the trap of, "I'll do it later," or "I don't have time today." To avoid this, establish a routine that aligns with your schedule and preferences. Some people find mornings ideal because their minds are fresh and distractions are minimal. Others prefer evenings, using the practice as a way to unwind and reflect. Experiment with different times of day to discover what feels most natural for you. Consistency matters more than timing. What's important is showing up regularly, even if it's at varying points throughout the week. It's also helpful to designate a specific space for your practice. This doesn't need to be elaborate. A quiet corner of your home, a cozy chair, or even a spot on the floor will suffice. The act of claiming this space sends a signal to your brain that it's time to focus inward. You might enhance the atmosphere with elements like candles, incense, soft lighting, or calming music. These touches aren't necessary, but they can make the experience more inviting and enjoyable. Over time, your designated space becomes a sanctuary, a place where you retreat to reconnect with yourself and recharge. Incorporating accountability can further strengthen your commitment. Share your intentions with a trusted friend, family member, or mentor who can offer encouragement and support. Better yet, find a practice partner, someone who shares your interest in mindfulness or meditation and is willing to join you on the journey. Practicing together not only boosts motivation, but also fosters connection and camaraderie. If meeting in person isn't feasible, virtual options like video calls or group chats work just as well. Alternatively, consider joining an online community or local class where you can exchange insights, ask questions, and celebrate milestones. Tracking your progress is another powerful tool for maintaining momentum. Keep a journal where you document your experiences, how you felt before, during, and after each session. Any insights or breakthroughs you had and challenges you encountered along the way. Reflecting on your entries over time reveals patterns, highlights growth, and provides motivation to continue. You might also use apps or digital tools designed for mindfulness and meditation. Many of these platforms include features like guided meditations, reminders, and progress trackers, making it easier to stay on course. Of course, obstacles are inevitable. Life gets busy, priorities shift, and motivation wanes. When this happens, resist the urge to judge yourself harsh. Progress takes time, and setbacks are part of the process. Instead of viewing missed sessions as failures, see them as opportunities to learn and adjust. Ask yourself, what got in the way? How can I prevent similar interruptions in the future? Sometimes the solution is as simple as reevaluating your schedule or lowering your expectations temporarily. Other times it involves addressing deeper issues, such as burnout, resistance, or fear of vulnerability. Flexibility is crucial for sustainability. Your practice should evolve as your circumstances change. For instance, if you're traveling or going through a particularly hectic period, adapt by shortening sessions, switching locations, or incorporating mindfulness into everyday activities. Washing dishes, walking, or commuting can all serve as opportunities to cultivate presence. Remember, the essence of mindfulness isn't confined to formal exercises. It's about staying aware and engaged, no matter what you're doing. Another way to ensure sustainability is to prioritize enjoyment. Practices rooted in obligation or guilt rarely last. Instead, focus on what brings you joy and fulfillment. If traditional seated meditation feels tedious, try movement-based practices like yoga, tai chi, or qigong. If silence feels intimidating, Experiment with guided meditations, visualization exercises, or mantra repetition. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. The best practice is the one that resonates with you and keeps you coming back. Compassion plays a vital role in sustaining your efforts. Be gentle with yourself, especially during difficult phases. Anxiety often triggers self-criticism, which can sabotage your progress. Counteract this tendency by practicing self-compassion. Remind yourself that imperfection is part of the human experience, and every step you take, even imperfect ones, is valuable. Celebrate small victories, whether it's sticking to your routine for a week, noticing a reduction in anxious thoughts, or simply feeling calmer after a session. Acknowledging these wins reinforces positive behavior and builds confidence. Mindfulness itself can help sustain your practice. By observing your thoughts and emotions without judgment, you develop greater self-awareness and emotional regulation. This heightened awareness allows you to identify triggers, manage stress more effectively, and navigate challenges with resilience. Additionally, mindfulness strengthens your ability to stay present, reducing the likelihood of procrastination or avoidance. Each time you return to the moment, whether during meditation or daily activities, you reinforce the habit of presence, making it easier to maintain over time. Integrating mindfulness and compassion into your daily life amplifies their impact. Look for opportunities to infuse ordinary moments with awareness and kindness. For example, when brushing your teeth, notice the sensation of the bristles against your gums, the taste of the toothpaste, and the sound of the water running. Approach household chores with gratitude, appreciating the comfort and security they provide. Interact with others from a place of empathy, listening attentively and responding thoughtfully. These micro-practices anchor you in the present and foster a sense of connection, enriching both your inner world and external relationships. Technology can be both a hindrance and a helper in building a sustainable practice. On one hand, constant notifications and screen time can fragment attention and exacerbate anxiety. On the other hand, digital tools can support mindfulness and meditation when used intentionally. Apps like Headspace, Calm, or Insight Timer offer guided meditations, courses, and community features that cater to various levels and interests. Wearable devices and smartwatches often include mindfulness reminders and breathing exercises, helping you stay grounded throughout the day. Just be mindful of how much time you spend on devices overall, ensuring they enhance rather than detract from your practice. Education is another pillar of sustainability. The more you understand the science, philosophy, and techniques behind mindfulness and meditation, the more motivated you'll be to continue. Dive into books, podcasts, documentaries, and workshops that explore these topics in depth. Learn about the neuroscience of meditation, the history of Buddhism, or the psychology of compassion. This knowledge not only deepens your appreciation for the practices, but also equips you to overcome doubts or skepticism. It reminds you why you started and inspires you to keep going. Finally, remember that building a sustainable practice is a lifelong journey. There will be peaks and valleys, periods of rapid growth and plateaus where progress seems slow. Embrace this ebb and flow, trusting that every effort contributes to your transformation. Even on days when you feel disconnected or uninspired, know that the seeds you've planted continue to grow beneath the surface. Trust the process, honor your unique path, and celebrate the courage it takes to show up consistently. As we move forward in this exploration, I encourage you to view your practice as a gift, a sacred time to nurture your mind, body, and spirit. Treat it with care, curiosity, and respect, knowing that it holds the power to transform not only your relationship with anxiety, but also your entire life. Whether you're meditating, practicing mindfulness, cultivating compassion, or integrating all three, let sustainability guide your choices. Build a practice that honors who you are, meets you where you are, and evolves as you do. In the chapters ahead, we'll continue exploring tools and strategies inspired by Buddhism, mindfulness, and modern psychology. Together, we'll deepen our understanding of how to eliminate anxiety and foster lasting well-being. For now, Reflect on what you've learned about building a sustainable practice. How does it resonate with your own experience? Are there aspects you'd like to explore further? Remember, the strength of your practice lies in its consistency, not its intensity. Every moment of awareness, every act of kindness, and every breath you take brings you closer to peace. Chapter 10. Living a life of presence. Imagine waking up each morning with a sense of ease, a calm awareness that permeates your day, guiding you through challenges and joys alike. Imagine moving through life not as a passive observer but as an active participant, fully engaged in every moment. This is what it means to live a life of presence, to embody mindfulness, meditation, and compassion in a way that transforms not only your inner world, but also your experience of the external one. In this final chapter, we'll explore how these practices come together to create a foundation for lasting well-being, helping you navigate anxiety, embrace uncertainty, and find joy in the simplicity of being. To begin, let's reflect on what it truly means to live in the present moment. The present is all we ever have, yet so often we spend our time dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Anxiety thrives on this disconnection, pulling us out of the here and now and into imagined scenarios that rarely align with reality. By contrast, presence anchors us in the richness of the current moment, allowing us to see life as it actually is, not as we fear or hope it might be. It invites us to savor the ordinary, appreciate the extraordinary, and meet each experience with openness and curiosity. Mindfulness is the gateway to presence. At its core, mindfulness is about paying attention on purpose in the present moment and without judgment. This simple yet profound practice trains us to notice what's happening within and around us, cultivating a deep sense of awareness and connection. When practiced consistently, mindfulness becomes second nature, transforming how we relate to ourselves, others, and the world. One of the most accessible ways to cultivate presence is through mindful breathing. The breath is always available, making it a reliable anchor for returning to the present moment. Whether you're sitting at your desk, standing in line, or lying in bed, you can pause and tune into your breath. Notice the sensation of air entering and leaving your nostrils, the rise and fall of your chest, the subtle expansion and contraction of your abdomen. Even a few conscious breaths can interrupt the momentum of anxious thoughts and ground you in the here and now. Over time, this practice creates a habit of presence, helping you stay centered no matter what arises. Mindful breathing isn't limited to formal meditation. It can be woven into everyday activities. For example, try practicing mindful breathing while commuting, waiting for an appointment, or transitioning between tasks. Use these moments to reconnect with yourself, letting the rhythm of your breath guide you back to the present. You might also experiment with pairing breath awareness with affirmations or intentions. As you inhale, silently repeat a phrase like, "I am here," and as you exhale, say, "I am enough." These gentle reminders reinforce your commitment to presence and self-compassion. Another powerful way to live mindfully is by engaging your senses. Our 5 senses, sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell, are portals to the present moment. When we bring full attention to sensory experiences, we step out of autopilot mode and into a state of heightened awareness. For instance, when eating a meal, notice the colors, textures, and aromas on your plate. As you chew, savor the flavors unfolding, the sweetness, saltiness, bitterness, or spiciness, and how they change over time. Pay attention to the sensations of hunger and fullness, eating until you feel satisfied rather than stuffed. This practice not only enhances enjoyment, but also fosters gratitude for the nourishment you receive. Walking is another opportunity to practice presence. Whether you're commuting, exercising, or simply moving from one room to another, walking can become a meditative act. Start by standing still for a moment, feeling the weight of your body on the ground and the support of the earth beneath your feet. As you begin to walk, focus on the sensation of each step, the lifting of your foot, the shifting of weight, the placing of your heel on the ground. If you're outdoors, notice the sights, sounds, and smells around you. The rustling of leaves, the chirping of birds, the cool breeze against your skin. Walking mindfully helps you reconnect with your body and the environment, creating a sense of flow and ease. Household chores, though often seen as tedious, can also be infused with mindfulness. Washing dishes, for example, becomes an exercise in sensory awareness. Feel the temperature of the water, the texture of the soap bubbles, the smoothness of the plates. Sweep the floor with intention, noticing the rhythm of your movements and the satisfaction of creating order. Folding laundry can be a chance to appreciate the softness of fabrics or the vibrant hues of your clothes. When approached with mindfulness, these tasks cease to feel like burdens and instead become moments of calm and creativity. Even seemingly stressful situations, like commuting or dealing with difficult conversations, can benefit from mindfulness. During a commute, whether by car, bus, or train, resist the urge to multitask or dwell on worries. Instead, focus on your surroundings, the hum of the engine, the sway of the vehicle, the faces of fellow passengers. If you're stuck in traffic, use the time to practice deep breathing or repeat a calming mantra. Similarly, during challenging interactions, listen attentively to the other person, observing their tone, facial expressions, and body language. Respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively, staying grounded in the present moment. Compassion amplifies the power of presence by infusing it with warmth and care. When we approach life with compassion, we open ourselves to deeper connections and greater resilience. Compassion reminds us that suffering is universal, dissolving feelings of isolation and fostering empathy. It encourages us to treat ourselves and others with kindness, even and especially during difficult times. By combining mindfulness with compassion, we create a holistic framework for navigating life's ups and downs with grace and courage. Loving-kindness meditation, or metta, is a particularly effective practice for cultivating compassion in the context of presence. Rooted in Buddhist teachings, metta involves silently repeating phrases of goodwill toward yourself and others. These phrases might include, "May I be safe," "May I be happy," "May I live with ease." Once you've extended these wishes to yourself, you gradually widen the circle of compassion, directing them toward loved ones, acquaintances, strangers, and even difficult people. The goal isn't to force forgiveness or affection, but to cultivate an attitude of openness and benevolence. Metta meditation has been shown to increase positive emotions, reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety, and enhance social connection. It works by rewiring the brain, strengthening neural pathways associated with empathy and altruism, while weakening those linked to fear and hostility. Over time, this practice softens the heart, making it easier to respond to challenges with patience and understanding rather than reactivity and defensiveness. Acts of service are another way to integrate compassion into a life of presence. Volunteering, mentoring, or simply lending a hand to someone in need allows us to channel our energy outward, creating meaning and purpose in our lives. Service reminds us that we're part of something larger than ourselves, fostering gratitude and humility. It also provides opportunities to connect with others, building relationships based on mutual respect and care. Whether you're tutoring a child, cleaning up a park, or visiting an elderly neighbor, every act of kindness contributes to a more compassionate world and a calmer, more centered version of yourself. Gratitude is another cornerstone of living mindfully and compassionately. By cultivating gratitude, we shift our focus from scarcity to abundance, recognizing the countless blessings in our lives. Gratitude practices, such as keeping a journal or reflecting silently, deepen our appreciation for the people, experiences, and resources that sustain us. They also inspire us to pay it forward, sharing our good fortune with others. For example, if you're grateful for a supportive colleague, consider mentoring someone newer to the team. If you're thankful for access to clean water, contribute to organizations working to provide safe drinking water worldwide. Gratitude and compassion go hand in hand, creating a virtuous cycle of positivity and generosity. Nature offers a profound reminder of the beauty and impermanence of life, grounding us in the present moment. Spending time outdoors, whether hiking in the mountains, strolling through a park, or simply gazing at the stars, reminds us of our place within the larger web of existence. Nature has a way of quieting the mind and soothing the soul, offering a respite from the noise and distractions of modern life. Studies show that exposure to nature reduces stress, boosts mood, and enhances cognitive function, making it an invaluable resource for managing anxiety. When immersed in nature, practice mindfulness by tuning into your surroundings. Notice the intricate details, the patterns on tree bark, the ripples on water, the play of light and shadow. Let go of the need to label or analyze what you see, allowing yourself to simply be present with the beauty around you. You might also try grounding exercises such as walking barefoot on grass or sand, feeling the texture and temperature beneath your feet. These practices deepen your connection to the earth and reinforce your sense of presence. As you continue to live mindfully, remember that presence is not a destination, it's a practice. There will be days when you feel fully immersed in the moment, and others when distractions pull you away. That's okay. What matters is your willingness to keep showing up, to keep planting seeds of awareness and compassion, even when the soil feels dry. Trust that every effort counts, whether it's a kind word, a gentle touch, or simply the intention to care. Over time, these seeds grow into a garden of connection, resilience, and peace. Finally, let's acknowledge that living a life of presence doesn't mean eliminating challenges or hardships. Life will always include uncertainties, losses, and moments of difficulty. But by embracing presence, we develop the tools to navigate these experiences with grace and resilience. We learn to face adversity not as victims but as participants, choosing how to respond rather than reacting impulsively. This shift in perspective transforms not only how we handle challenges, but also how we experience joy, love, and connection. In closing, I invite you to carry the lessons of this journey forward. Let mindfulness, meditation, and compassion guide you as you move through life, helping you cultivate a deeper connection to the present moment and a greater sense of fulfillment. Whether you're navigating personal challenges, repairing relationships, or contributing to your community, let presence be your compass. Know that each act of awareness, each moment of kindness, and each breath you take brings you closer to freedom. Thank you for embarking on this exploration of eliminating anxiety and fostering lasting well-being. Together, we've built a toolkit rooted in ancient wisdom and modern psychology. A toolkit designed to help you transform your relationship with yourself and the world. As you continue this journey, remember that the strength of your practice lies in its consistency, not its intensity. Every step you take is a step toward peace. As we come to the end of this 2-hour journey together, I want to take a moment to thank you deeply for being here, for showing up, for listening, and for committing to your growth and well-being. It's not always easy to carve out time for yourself, especially when life feels overwhelming. But by choosing to invest in this exploration of mindfulness, meditation, compassion, and presence, you've already taken a powerful step toward eliminating anxiety and fostering lasting peace. Throughout these 10 chapters, we've covered so much ground, understanding the roots of anxiety, embracing the wisdom of Buddhism, practicing mindfulness in daily life, cultivating compassion, and building sustainable habits that support your journey. Each chapter was designed to offer practical tools and insights, but more importantly, to remind you of one fundamental truth. You have everything you need within you to create a life of calm, clarity, and connection. Anxiety may still visit, it's part of the human experience, but it no longer has to define you. With the practices we've explored, you now have the tools to meet anxiety with awareness, curiosity, and kindness. You've learned how to anchor yourself in the present moment through mindful breathing, how to soften fear with compassion, and how to embrace uncertainty with courage. These skills aren't just strategies, they're lifelines, helping you navigate life's inevitable challenges with resilience and grace. Remember, this isn't about achieving perfection. There will be days when mindfulness feels effortless and others when it feels like climbing a mountain. That's okay. What matters most is your willingness to keep showing up, to lean into discomfort, to trust the process, and to honor your unique path. Progress isn't linear. It's a series of small, meaningful steps that add up over time. Celebrate every victory, no matter how small, and be gentle with yourself when setbacks arise. Growth happens in the messy, imperfect moments, just as much as in clear, triumphant ones. One of the most beautiful aspects of mindfulness and compassion is their ripple effect. When you cultivate presence and kindness in your own life, you naturally extend those qualities to others. Your calm becomes contagious, your empathy inspires connection, and your courage encourages those around you to embark on their own journeys of healing and transformation. In this way, your practice doesn't just benefit you, it contributes to a more compassionate, peaceful world. Before we close, I'd like to invite you to reflect on what resonated most with you during this exploration. Was it the power of the breath, the transformative potential of compassion, the importance of letting go of control? Whatever it was, hold on to it. Let it guide you as you move forward, integrating these teachings into your daily life in ways that feel authentic and sustainable for you. If you found value in this journey, I'd be incredibly grateful if you could share this video with someone who might benefit from it. Anxiety can feel isolating, but together we can create spaces of support, understanding, and hope. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the Mindful Zone for more content designed to help you live with greater awareness, joy, and ease. Finally, I want to leave you with a simple yet profound reminder. You are enough exactly as you are. You don't need to prove your worth or chase external validation to be whole. Your presence matters, your efforts matter, your heart matters. Every breath you take is a testament to your aliveness, your resilience, and your capacity for growth. Trust yourself, trust the process, and trust that even in the midst of uncertainty, you are capable of finding peace. So, as we part ways, for now, I encourage you to carry this spirit of mindfulness and compassion with you, not just today, but every day. Breathe deeply, walk slowly, speak kindly, and know that you are never alone on this journey. We're all connected, navigating the ebbs and flows of life together. Thank you again for joining me here in the Mindful Zone. Until next time, may you find calm in the chaos, light in the darkness, and beauty in the simplicity of each moment. Namaste.